Good afternoon and good morning. Welcome to our webinar today, Enterprise Integrations. My name is Jim O'Farrell, and I'd like to welcome everyone to this session today. Super excited about sharing this information with you. The goal is to cover, so I'd like to first of all introduce our Connectors Product Marketing Manager, Andre Rapita. Andre, how are you doing this morning?
Thanks so much for having me, Jim. I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. And what we have for an agenda here is an action-packed agenda here for the next, as we say here, about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, going to go a little longer. We want to walk through a high-level overview of what our enterprise integrations are all about. We're going to walk through our connectors integrations. We're going to discuss in detail the way that we interact with O365 and also with the Google Suite, insights and best practices there, and talk about and show use cases and insights related to data uploader. So our goal here today is really to give you a high-level review of the majority of these particular connectors and integrations, and more importantly, critical resources that you can pursue on your specific interests. And we also, through our polling, can determine the interest that you have in specific connectors and get some additional help your way in terms of drilling down into a lot of details. Okay, Andre, I think I'll turn it over to you. Let's get started.
That's great. Thanks so much, Jim. So Smartsheet, we basically have three primary ways to connect Smartsheet to the systems enterprises use regularly. Through our third-party connectors, we extend the reach and consistency of data from systems, including those offered by Salesforce, Atlassian, Microsoft, and ServiceNow. We also integrate our platform into popular document and communication applications from some of the most well-known applications, including Google, Microsoft, Slack, Dropbox, and many more. In addition, we offer APIs, and those enable a broad ecosystem of partners and customers to integrate directly into our platform. That really increases the value of existing custom-built applications, improving the experience for all of our users. This slide shows really a basic IT stack for an organization and where Smartsheet fits in. As you can see on the far left, there are many well-known apps for creating content, including Excel, Word, or Google Docs. There are also cloud storage apps like Box and Dropbox. Then there's also communication apps like Skype for Business, Slack, and Teams. Lastly, there are reference apps such as SharePoint. However, really none of those do what Smartsheet does. And Smartsheet's in a new space that's called collaborative work management. And that's really separate and distinct. And it's really where Smartsheet excels. It provides visibility, status, collaboration tasks, and automation.
Yeah, what's really interesting to note here too, I'd like to also point out that in the center here, we have the enterprise systems of record too. So it's very important to note that not only do we integrate with content creation, cloud, communication, or reference systems, but we also provide integration points for enterprise systems of record, ERP systems, HR systems, CRM, like Salesforce and Dynamics. And the way that we do this is either through a connector, a bi-directional connector offering. For example, we'll get into this in a few minutes with our Salesforce and Dynamics connection. Or we also have our open API, which is a bi-directional approach to manipulating, extracting data out of an ERP system like SAP or Oracle EBS, and or pushing that data back into those systems. One of the reasons that we like to work with this open API in some of these highly complex systems is that obviously, for example, in SAP, there's literally hundreds of thousands of data attributes that a corporation or an application may require. So it's obviously very difficult to build a connector that takes into account every single one of those attributes. So our open API approach, working with our services team, is the way that we look at integrating with some of those systems of record. And we have lots of examples where we've done that with our actual customers. So as Andre pointed out throughout Smartsheet, we continue to invest heavily in building, developing, and supporting these bidirectional connectors and connecting them up with these enterprise systems of record.
That's right, Jim. And now we'd like to hear from you. We have a poll, and we want to know what data sets are most important for you today.
And let's go ahead and share those results. And interestingly enough here, what we've got from the results standpoint is the content creation side of it. So the integration with Google Suite and Microsoft Office, that's really interesting that's one of the highlighted areas. And the good news is we actually have quite a bit to cover on that in a few minutes on both Google Suite and Microsoft Office. What else do you think here, Andre?
Yeah, those, I mean, obviously business users need to use the collaboration suites, and Google Suite and Microsoft Office 365 are the two most popular ones. So those are kind of basics, kind of table stakes for every business user. And then to figure out how Smartsheet connect with those is really critical.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your feedback here. And let me, I jumped ahead one slide here. Just let me back it up a minute here. Good job. Okay, so let's continue on. We're going to dive now into a little bit on our third-party premium connectors.
Great. Thanks, Jim. So these are all of our primary connectors that we have today. And so in addition to specific build connectors for Salesforce, it's Jira, ServiceNow, and Microsoft Dynamics 365, we also have a product called Data Uploader, which is kind of a catch-all. It really provides great flexibility for a wide range of enterprise applications. That includes CRM, ERP, ITSM databases, and many more. It allows you to bring all that data into Smartsheet. And we're going to tell you a lot more about that a little bit later today. And if you'd like to learn more about a potential purchase for any of these, please reach out to Smartsheet Sales to make that connection.
So where do you find some of these integrations, Andre? Where do we go to locate these?
Right. So one of the first places is that we have a lot of them already built into the Smartsheet application that comes right out of the box. So they're available for immediate use. So some of those examples include cloud storage attachments. So if you're within Smartsheet, you can click on the paperclip in a specific row, which is the leftmost column. Or for the whole sheet, if you want an attachment to go there, you'll see that on the far right. If you're using automation, you can choose to send alerts to channels or teams in either Slack or Microsoft Teams. If you're a Microsoft shop, you can use Skype for Business, and that's built right into Smartsheet. You can click on your picture in the upper right corner to get started. There, you can see who's online. You can have a chat conversation with them. And then you can save it, right there, so you have all that conversation if it's within the context of the work. For those using Google Calendar, you can also publish to or overlay your Smartsheet work plan to your calendar, so you can see what you need to do in context of your entire calendar. We even have a number of single sign-on options to really speed up access to get into Smartsheet every day.
Might pause the cause here. We have a couple of really interesting questions coming in. Andre, Rommel is asking about support for Tableau, just for something right off the wall there. We do have a Tableau connection. We do have a Tableau connector, which allows you to display Tableau objects in our dashboard environment. Was there anything else you might want to?
One great example. Another is that a lot of people like to take the information and data from Smartsheet and bring that over to Tableau to better visualize that within Tableau, which is a great application to do that.
That's a good idea too. Yeah, going the other way. And I suppose the same with Power BI too from Microsoft.
Exactly. If you're a Microsoft shop, you want to see that data and visualize it in a number of different ways, and Power BI is a great way to do that. All right. Also wanted to show a little bit more about our Solution Center. So in addition to Microsoft and Google integrations, which we're going to get into more in a little bit, you can visit our Solution Center to find dozens of other integrations. Some of the most popular ones include Slack, Tableau, which we just talked about, Procore, as well as Workplace by Facebook. So in addition to dozens of integrations, including those, you can also find templates, template sets, connectors, premium add-ons, and accelerators there.
In fact, what I'm showing right now, I'm just going to switch right over here, if it's okay with you, Andre, and just go right to our marketplace. Is that okay?
Great idea.
And what we're showing here, if you go to our website and just key in smartsheet.com marketplace, you'll be taken right to what we call our Solution Center. And here what you can see are a variety of different capabilities, if you will, solutions for your various different challenges. For example, there's a template gallery, which is a number of different templates and template sets, something on the order of 150 plus different solutions that you can use within your Smartsheet environment. More importantly, for this purposes of this conversation today, there's integrations and connectors section here that you can actually go to too, that outlines the various different integrations and connectors where you can get more detailed information about those particular environments. Now, not only is the Solution Center available by way of our website, we also have the Solution Center available right within the Smartsheet environment. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that up on screen very quickly for you too. The way that you get to this Solution Center is by, within the application, clicking on the plus button. And what you can see here are the varieties of different solutions that we provide as a way to get started very quickly with Smartsheet. Not only the integrations and connectors, but also the various different applications, template sets that are available. So again, just taking a quick side trip on that, we wanted to make sure that everyone knew about this. Actually, Lena is actually asking a real-time question here. Are these add-ons additional costs? Well, some with the template sets and the templates are free to use. The connectors have a fee. Other integrations like templates or the Tableau connectors, Tableau integrations come with the baseline system. So I think the answer to your question, Lena, is it's best to follow up. We'll have an account exec contact you and explain which do carry a charge and which are free. There's so many different integrations that it'll be hard to answer every single question related to that particular one in this webinar today.
Right. We do have a whole great number within the Solution Center that are free, so definitely check those out and try them out if you're using those today.
Well, look, Andre, let's do a little switching gears. We're going to peel the onion back. Let's go down and take a closer look at some of these connectors. And why don't you give us a little walkthrough on Jira, please?
Sure. So Jira is a premium integration, so this one will entail an additional fee, but it does provide some amazing functionality as well. So Smartsheet for Jira provides visibility into IT and software development projects that are being tracked in Jira, but it really allows that, provides that visibility to non-technical teams that really rely on that data in Jira, but can't get the information easily or on a timely basis. We also know that Jira is not the best system to manage and report on IT tickets. And IT, the ops or help desk teams, they often need a more efficient intake process to handle ticketing. We also hear that teams need better visibility to collaborate and see progress across the business. So you often see partner teams or management and even customers themselves. They want visibility into projects that are being managed within Jira, but really some of these silos prevent visibility. And Smartsheet for Jira really helps smash that visibility, providing visibility for all that great, rich information in Jira that's being managed in real time by teams that enjoy working there, and that provides that visibility into all the other teams that need that to really run the business or get the updates.
How about what are some of the key use cases that you see in this?
Yeah, so we basically have three top use cases that a whole lot of our customers are using today. One we touched on a little bit is software developers. There's a good chance that they're already using Jira today. They like using Jira. They want to continue to Jira. And as a business, you want them to stay there because that's where they're most comfortable and being most efficient. It's relatively easy to put, obviously, a lot of the information in sprints and manage those sprints within Jira. The problem that occurs is that business users aren't really comfortable navigating around it, and they might not even want or have a Jira license. So the connector really allows them to display the information in a more familiar view, like a grid view, card view, or dashboard within Smartsheet. Our second use case that's really popular that we touched on is this IT ticketing scenario. We've heard feedback that the Jira Service Desk intake process can be somewhat difficult, especially when dealing with someone maybe in the field that might not have access to their desktop computer or VPN access. So with the connector, we provide an easy way for the information to flow from Smartsheet into Jira, so you can map that into a service desk project into Smartsheet. You can then create a web form to intake issues that's really convenient and makes it much easier. The issues will come into Smartsheet and then synced to Jira, so IT help desk can work on the issues in Jira. Thirdly, we have the cross-organizational projects. So you can have multiple teams, let's say from marketing and sales, coordinating their efforts with software development. Usually they're out working on different tools, so it's hard to see milestones related to each other to manage these projects. So if software development is using Jira and the business is using Smartsheet, you can actually bring all that together within Smartsheet. So developers can continue to work in Jira, which is where they want, but all the information is also displayed within Smartsheet, allowing you to work from one platform to manage the entire product launch. So instead of the information being siloed just within Jira, and then perhaps those software developers having to create something brand new and get out of Jira and do something separate for the other teams, now it's all come natural. Jira folks are working in Jira, business users are getting that information and can use that in real time to do what they need to do to get the projects done most efficiently.
Excellent. That sounds great. Thanks, Andre. Let's take another example of a connector. Again, this is a paid-for connector, going back to Lena's question. And we did get several questions from the attendees about Salesforce connecting to CRM environments. And so what we're describing here, we've done quite a bit of work with Salesforce building out the connector, and also with Dynamics 365. And the idea behind these connectors, again, going back to the point that Andre covered, these are bidirectional, no-code approaches to connecting to these back-end systems, pushing data to those systems, extracting data out of those systems. And there's a number of different use cases that we see that are very popular with our customers in terms of use of these connectors. We really see services teams in particular deploying the CRM connectors. In particular, we see a lot of Salesforce integration with professional services teams for onboarding clients, for example. That's an excellent use case. And the value of this, of course, is that you're cutting out the amount of time it takes to share data, to enter data, and then, of course, you're improving the quality of data, too, at that same time by using these automated approaches to integrating with enterprise systems of record. These are all built and managed and deployed and supported by Smartsheet, so it comes with that Smartsheet assurance. And let me very briefly highlight a couple of these particular examples here. The first one is the handoff to services, and then we'll take a look at pipeline management and executive visibility. So what you see here for the first example is a dashboard that illustrates data that lives essentially in Salesforce, is propagated out to a Smartsheet project that's used for customer onboarding. And the idea here is that you're able to not only see what's going on in your CRM environment, but also what's happening in your projects for those clients, and bringing that data into a dashboard for real-time visibility, keeping not only your team up to speed with what's going on with the project, but we hear time and time again, providing these dashboards and these reports and insights to the actual customer being implemented is of real value. Those real-time updates are incredibly important and impactful, allowing you to achieve more because you're able to lessen the amount of time it takes to communicate what's going on with the actual project. Keeps everybody on the same page. The second example that we see a lot of here is on the sales management side of the equation here. With respect to CRM data, what we're able to do is manage processes like sales forecasting on a multi-tier level, or managing the onboarding of sales representatives through the rep onboarding processes. All of that data exists in that Salesforce or that Dynamics environment, is used to actually populate, again, the Smartsheet environment. You're able to work with the sales rep onboarding project, and as those updates are made in the Smartsheet environment, the data can be pushed back into the Salesforce environment, keeping everyone on the same page throughout that entire end-to-end process. So we're very thrilled with these connectors, and I think it makes a lot of sense now to maybe pause again for another quick poll, our last poll of the day, and it relates to the CRM data connectors. Which of these aspects of integrating CRM data are most appealing to you? And it looks to me like the big winner here is customer data management, which to me is probably not too surprising. I think customer data, vendor data, and material data is probably the most critical elements of data that's managed in an organization. So there's a overwhelming support for that one. What else are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I guess one of the surprising things to me is the customer onboarding isn't as popular, because I know we've definitely sold a lot of those, and that handoff to professional services seems to be a critical issue for a lot of companies, and they have trouble with that, doing it effectively and quickly. And we know that the Salesforce connector really helps with that.
Yeah, that is an interesting observation there.
Absolutely. So we often ask, how does Smartsheet and O365, how do they work together? What makes sense? So really, I think the right way to think about it is, Microsoft is a market-leading traditional collaboration suite. And that really means that they're really great at a number of tasks, including creating and sharing content, co-authoring and customizable workflows that often require developers. However, Smartsheet is a work execution platform to plan, capture, manage, and automate and report on your work, all with no code required. And then, if you actually put them together, that's when you really kind of get the best story and really the most value. So when you put them together, you kind of get a lot of benefits, including you have integrations that complement each other to really drive a great amount of efficiency. And it really allows you to stay in your workflow without having to switch applications. And we know that can be a really big time saver, so not having to switch back and forth. You can also reduce time and errors due to less copy and paste or data reentry. We often see a lot of people put information into one application and then they need to get into another and they have to kind of copy and paste or redo it completely. So you have maybe data entry people doing that. And really these integrations eliminate a lot of that pain. And lastly, it allows the users to stay in the right tool for the job. And that really gives flexibility for office workers to use what's best for their needs. And that's what we're really all about.
It's really cool. The partnership we do have with Microsoft, I'd say, is one of our strongest partnerships amongst the 50 or 60 different critical partners that we do have. So it's good to see this even better together. Well, how does it look for Google now?
For Google, very similar system. We also have a great story with G Suite and their stable of amazing products. Their collaboration suite has many similar functionalities with Office 365. Obviously including great co-authoring and communication applications. There's a lot of them that are very similar to O365. And again, we have integrations with almost all of these so that you can continue to manage your work within G Suite. You can have it come into Smartsheet. They're all integrated tightly, so you can really get a lot of efficiencies by working together, because we know all the collaboration suites are not going to go away. They're critical to how users get business done. And then once you add Smartsheet to that, it really kind of allows you to get to the next level. That's right. So as we mentioned, collaboration suites such as O365 and G Suite are essential for business workers around the world. And Smartsheet enables work execution across industries and use cases. So when you put them together, it really is a better together situation that everyone wants to get the benefit from.
Andre, we had a lot of questions that came up during the polling and the Q&A that's taking place. There's one of the questions that did come up and quite a few related to Excel, working with Excel. So let's take a few minutes here and talk about a solution we call Data Uploader and how that addresses integrating with Excel and using Excel as a data source in the Smartsheet. So what we see is a lot of pain points, again, with our customer base, doing a lot of manual rekeying of data or using the import feature on a manual basis to bring Excel data in, and really running into challenges as far as scheduling these kinds of updates and keeping current with these kinds of updates. Another process that they've been looking for is to take an approach where you have a custom integration. Of course, that gets expensive. That's hard to maintain going forward here. What we see as Data Uploader, it's a tool that's designed to manage the input of data on a scheduled basis. So if you have reports that are in a CSV format, or they're in Google Sheets, or they're in an XLS format, you can take this information with Data Uploader and set up scheduled, timely, accurate, hourly updates to your environment into Smartsheet. So what it does, it really reduces the amount of errors that are associated with manual entry of data. It also gets it to a point where you're working with a scheduled basis of managing that data. So let me talk a bit about what is Data Uploader specifically. So it's an automated way to get data into Smartsheet. What it allows you to do, it allows you to connect up to various different critical enterprise systems. So for example, SAP, Oracle, EBS, many of these, Salesforce, many of these systems support the export of CSV formats or .xls formats, Excel formats. So if you want to extract that data on a time basis and post that data to a site like, for example, OneDrive or a SharePoint site, we can then point Data Uploader at that site and schedule an update to occur at a specific time interval for that to take place. And let me illustrate this just a little bit further here. For example, you can see here the varieties of different systems here that I just talked about: SAP, Oracle, MySQL. This particular file format, CSV, Excel, and Google Sheets, are widely applicable to a broad range of systems. And now with this automation, it allows you to actually automate the updating, if you will, to Smartsheet. So what it might do, Andre, do you want to just kind of give us a little bit of how does it work, how the ease of use and setting up and the menu-driven approach to this and how it works?
Sure. So within the menu, obviously, you can kind of pick the source document, so where you want information coming from. Then you can pick your target, that's basically the Smartsheet sheet that you'll be bringing the data into. And then once you set your filters and mapping, that can kind of figure out exactly how you want it to look and what key information you want tailored. Then you can actually also set up a schedule. So let's say you get your accounting, let's say your accounting or your time schedules every Friday at 2 o'clock. You can schedule that information to come into Smartsheet at, say, 3 o'clock. So then you can have the end of the week time reporting, so you can see exactly how everything flowed for that week. So really convenient and easy to manage with no coding whatsoever.
Awesome. And some of the key use cases that we've seen, again, we've talked about these. There's, again, financial actuals, setting up these sheet formulas referencing uploaded data within your Smartsheet environment, and scheduling is to run as often as necessary. So you got to run every day to do these updates. Another option might be doing time tracking. In fact, it's kind of interesting. There were a lot of time tracking questions. So if you're maintaining that data today in a time tracking system, and that can be exported out to a CSV or XLS, you can set that up to export on a time basis out of that time billing system, and then set up your data uploader on an interval basis to pick up that information and automatically bring that into Smartsheet. Really powerful use case there. And of course, I've been alluding to right from the outset, updates from ERP or CRM systems. So again, if you're doing material management in SAP, or if you're doing pricing management in Oracle EBS, or you're managing customer data in QAD, whatever your ERP system is or your CRM system, 99% of them support this type of format, and Data Uploader is a great way to actually get that data into the Smartsheet environment. So we're moving ahead here. We're coming down home stretch. We've got time enough for 3 or 4 questions. And do you want to pop a couple questions there, Andre, that we're getting?
Sure. So one of the questions was, is Data Uploader only one way? Basically, yes. So all of the other connectors do perform bi-directional functionality. Data Uploader is the one exception, partly due to the flexibility that it can bring in so many different information, so that it can't go the other way as well. So it can bring information from all those wide variety of systems into Smartsheet to be able to manage there.
One thing I might add to that too, if you do have the need to push data back from Smartsheet back to the system of record, remember that open API that we do provide. That provides you with that conduit back to your environment. So that's a good solution there too.
We're also getting a lot of questions on the cost for Data Uploader, and I think probably the best way to manage that is to talk with our Smartsheet sales representative, and they can definitely help you with understanding what that would look like and mean for your organization.
And in fact, in our survey that we have concluding this webinar, there are 2 questions. One is to rate the webinar, and the second question is if you'd like some sales engineering or you have additional questions regarding a particular connector, just check the box yes, and we'll get back to you with more explicit detail. It's a lot of ground to cover in 35 to 40 minutes here, so we just wanted to again provide you with a high-level landscape of insights here. Andre, what do you got for another question?
So definitely have a lot of other questions in terms of what else we can connect to. And again, so we have the open API and we have Data Uploader, and that can allow, as long as those applications can download to a Google Sheet or Excel or a CSV file, and the vast majority of those systems can, then you can bring in that information into Smartsheet.
And bear in mind too, you can use the open API to go both ways too. You can use it as long as the system of record has a well-published API that you can talk to.
Right. Yeah.
And our services team does, they do these kinds of projects. This is a pretty standard program for us as far as the service engagement.
Correct. And definitely seeing other questions in terms of on-premise questions as well. And again, as long as those on-premise applications can download to one of those three formats, then it can come into Smartsheet. So a lot of flexibility with that product.
Excellent. How about one more question? We're scanning through it. There it is. It's real time here. One thing is we do appreciate your time here today. My name is Jim O'Farrell, Director of Product Marketing, along with Andre Rapita, who's our Senior Director of Product Marketing for our connector team here. Maybe one more question, and then we'll go ahead and let you get back to your work today. We will be following up with the recording of this webinar. We'll get that to you. And again, if you want to drill into any specific connector question, just indicate so in the survey at the end of this webinar. Which one?
Yep, I think one of the ones we see regularly is, do we connect with QuickBooks? Definitely, I know a lot of, especially small and medium businesses, they use QuickBooks for their accounting systems, and that's definitely one that we know can download to some of those formats and bring that into Smartsheet. So again, that's definitely one we've seen be very successful with a lot of customers, and they got a lot of value from that one. So thanks for asking that one.
That's a great question. Well, thank you all for participating in our polls, our surveys. Andre, thank you for preparing this and pulling this together. I want to thank everybody for taking time out today, and we really appreciate sharing these insights and helping you with understanding the wide array of enterprise integrations and connectors that we do offer here at Smartsheet.